Welcome, everybody, to the Game Day Gauntlet Father's Day edition, week number 12. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm UFL co-founder Cameron Irvine, and we are back. You know, the last couple of weeks, we've had some big-time blowouts around here. Hopefully that can change today. Got a lot of interesting games. The headliner is a good one. 6-5 Chicago, 8-3 St. Louis, two of the top teams in the East squaring off right here on the Gauntlet. A little bit later, San Diego and Wichita, fascinating matchup. Vegas, Phoenix, New Orleans all try to bounce back and lift their spirits. Those are the three worst records that you'll see on Gauntlet today. Minnesota hoping that this week is the answer against New York, and Salt Lake welcomes Los Angeles, two teams in desperate need of a turnaround in the West. That comes up tonight on Coast to Coast. But for now, we kick things off in St. Louis, Missouri, where the Rivermen and the Dragons are about to get underway. The Game Day Gauntlet right here on the Virtual Football Network. Happy Father's Day, everybody. What up, Peter, Ronnie, Anthony, Neil, Justin, Ernest, Jack, Twiggy? We're all here, and many more in the chat here with us to start this Father's Day. If you're a dad and you requested to watch the Game Day Gauntlet today as part of your Father's Day experience, please let me know. That is super cool, and we're happy to be a part of your celebration. If you're not a dad, don't worry. I'm not either, and you know, you don't have to feel anything any kind of way about it. You're good. St. Louis hosting Chicago. All blue for St. Louis with the red lids. The all white for Chicago with the light blue pants, and we're underway from St. Louis. The Rivermen have a better road record this season than home record. They're 5-1 on the road, 3-2 at home. They only lost one game all year at home last year. Jason Williams gets the carry to get started for Chicago. The quarterback for Chicago is Adam Wiseman. He's had an up-and-down season, 16 touchdowns, 12 picks. However, 3,400 yards and 309 yards a game. 264 out of 409 completions and attempts, 65%. Completion percentage, he just handed off to Jason Williams, who's got 934 rushing yards coming into the game, averaging 85 yards a game. Off the right side, makes a juke move, and then I think they're going to get Howard Jr. with a face mask on the opening drive, so Chicago will move the sticks up to the 49-yard line of St. Louis. Costly penalty there for the Rivermen. St. Louis is at 8-3, currently tied for second with Dallas in the Eastern Conference. Chicago 2 games back in fourth place, currently tied with Wichita. Chicago has a better conference record than Wichita. St. Louis a better conference record than Dallas. This is Adam Wiseman taking a deep shot in double coverage, and that one was just slightly overthrown. He had a double team out there and could not get that ball to Denard by him. K. Marion last week had an explosive game. The third best receiving yards game of any player in the UFL this season. She's now up to 102 yards a game with 1,122 yards and 4 touchdowns. Marion is now up to third in the league in receiving yards per game. Her, Churchill, and Annie Beaverhausen, your new leader in yards per game, at the top of the standings. This is Jason Williams up to the St. Louis 43-yard line. And this is a really good start for Chicago here in the opening minute of the Game Day Gauntlet. I agree, Justin. We try to, understand, what everybody's going through. Nice job by Robert Brady Jr. there on that tackle. Everybody's in a different situation in life, and I know personally, holidays for me, they were kind of difficult. Everybody seemed to be super excited and having a good time and having lots of fun, and I just wasn't feeling it. And sometimes you get lonely on the holidays, especially we're keeping Ray in our thoughts today, certainly after her loss in the family recently. So, there's a lot to be thankful for, but a lot to be cognizant of as well. As Karen Koizumi will come out for St. Louis, 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, just 2,103 yards this team runs, and they run a lot. Play fake for Koizumi. She's going to throw it, and the first play for St. Louis's opening drive is a knockaway. Yeah, Beaverhausen passed up Churchill just a bit. Churchill still leads the league in touchdowns with 13, 1,183 yards. There's 5 receivers in the league that have over 1,000 yards receiving, but the next closest is Ethan Flowers of Vegas at 883, so there's a little bit of a drop-off there. Flowers and Vegas take on Austin later today. The handoff goes to Junior McCray, and not much there for McCray, only a gain of a yard as Eric Winter plugs the gap for Chicago. There he is at defensive tackle, winning the rock, paper, scissors game. The Chicago defense still, pretty understaffed. Very, very light team in terms of player claims. They really just have not had a lot of forward momentum this season, except on the field. They've won their fair share of games and turned things around after a bad season in 2025. 3rd down and 8 for Karen Koizumi. Going to take off and run. Koizumi with a juke and picks up a first down. Didn't think she was going to get there, but Koizumi picks up 11 yards and moves the chains for St. Louis. That'll keep the drive alive for the Rivermen. Beautiful move by Koizumi in the open field. Karen at exactly 500 yards on 66 carries coming into the game. That's about 6 carries a game, averaging 29 or 45 yards per game. And Ray is in the house, so we're happy to see Ray here. That's great. Handoff to Junior McCray to the 25-yard line, and he got a couple. Clutch making a good point in the chat about Vegas. A nightmare pair we have to deal with. Vegas D has to be at its best today. Could not agree more. Beaverhausen and Churchill have just taken the league by storm. More on Austin's. Oh, it's picked off by Chicago up to the 32-yard line. Sparks with the interception. That is Koizumi's 10th of the season in 12 games. Stepped right in front of that pass, did the linebacker, and Chicago's got the early momentum at the St. Louis 32-yard line. Karen was looking for, looked like Alvarez on the little slant route. It was jumped by Sparks, and Chicago is playing a pretty good quarter so far. Sparks with his first interception of the season. How about that? So Chicago will take over. 8:14 to go in the first quarter, no score. Adam Wiseman at the St. Louis 32-yard line. Wiseman dropping a throw, fires over the middle. That pass is complete down to the 18-yard line. This is the only game where both teams won last week in the Gauntlet. In terms of New Orleans, they have entirely reshaped their defense. Their defense last in the league in a ton of categories. The Claws, who are kicking off shortly, let me get my numbers here. They were last in scoring defense, run defense, third down defense coming into the week. So a completely reshaped defensive game plan for New Orleans. They're hoping for big things today against Dakota, but that pass is picked off, and it's Robert Brady Jr. taking it all the way back. That is an 82-yard pick six to get us started on the Gauntlet. And a disaster for Adam Wiseman. St. Louis's second defensive touchdown of the season. Or third, I should say. They had two in one game earlier this season, and they take this one all the way back for the first points of the day. Robert Brady Jr. on the year, his first interception. He had 99 tackles coming into the game. 8 pass breakups, but his first pick of the year puts St. Louis up 7-0, and 7 and over 50 are your first numbers off your bingo cards today. And the crowd roaring here in St. Louis, especially considering that the Rivermen did not have the better start to this game. That was the Chicago Dragons getting the stop and on the interception and having great field position, but it's totally ruined. Dakota and New Orleans coming up in about 10 minutes. Let's talk about some of the other changes made around the league. Phoenix is coming off a loss to the Chicago Dragons. They're taking on Dallas. The Phoenix Skyhawks, took a look in the mirror and realized that this is their receptions total this year. Their tight end has 62 receptions. One of their wide receivers has 61, but then their running back out of the backfield has 61. Wiseman goes down on a corner blitz. Colin Douglas puts him down like a dog and drops him for an 8-yard loss. So anyway, 62 receptions for the tight end, 61 for a receiver, and then 61 for the back out of the backfield. Too many checkdowns for Phoenix, and so they're trying to open up the offense and get their receivers more involved. They got a tough test today against Dallas. Wichita trying to get Chris Delro a little bit more to the outside, utilize his speed, just trying to work on that run game. They had a decent showing against New York, but ultimately fell short last week. San Diego's been playing pretty hot. They're 5-6 on the road, but I'd say Wichita's probably favored there. And then Vegas against Austin, looked pretty great last week. A 36-10 dominating win over Salt Lake, and they will be at Austin today. Austin did some interesting things this week. We'll talk about that more in a moment. 3rd down and 14 for Chicago. Adam Wiseman's got all day to throw. He's forced to take the check down. Williams almost got the first down if he wouldn't have stumbled out of his block. He ends up 3 yards short. St. Louis forces a 3-and-out after the pick 6. So Austin discovers this week, they're looking over their roster and they're saying, listen, I don't know why our tight end 2 is playing so much, but our tight ends are pretty bad. Outside of Mika Friday, the starting tight end, let's get him off the field. And we said, okay. So Austin is rolling into the game against Vegas with a new outlook offensively. They're going into some more spread sets, and they want to sling the ball deep down the field even more. So we'll see what Austin can get done. It's a risk as Koizumi drops to throw. That pass is complete. The defender missed Angel Maldonado, and Maldonado picks up a first down on Koizumi's first completion. It is a risk that Austin is taking. Austin's coming off of a 33-30 loss to Rochester, and they're still the number 1 scoring offense in the league. But despite all that, they made a dramatic change offensively this week, and we'll see if it pays off for them or not. Chicago still leading St. Louis in total yards, but St. Louis has the football and the lead, 7-0. Handoff to Junior McCray, and he's put down after a 4-yard pickup. Clutch makes a good point for Vegas, winless on the road. Vegas is the only team winless on the road or at home. Dakota is undefeated on the road, 5-0. They are the only undefeated team, either home or away. The best home record this season belongs to New York at 6-1. And the most surprising mediocre home record is Los Angeles. They've just been 1-4 at home, while 4-2 on the road. And LA is at Salt Lake tonight in the second game of Coast to Coast. We have a special guest analyst for the UFL tonight in our Coast to Coast doubleheader that you'll be hearing alongside your regulars Tyler Falk and Eric Vincent tonight. McCray picks up 5 on first down. You need an A or an F, Ray, for Gameday Gauntlet, and then it's diagonal. But you do get double the cards today, as that pass is caught by Alvarez for a pickup of 3. .325 to go in the first quarter. Dakota at New Orleans, kicking off in about 5 minutes. This is Koizumi dropping a throw. That pass is caught as Chicago tried to bring some pressure, but Centro House leaks out of the backfield and picks up a first down. Minnesota had been so bad on first down that they tried to rework their first down offense tonight against New York. They also did some new things defensively to try to slow down the Lightning. Minnesota, one of those teams at the bottom. There's 4 teams at the bottom of the league at 3 and 8. New Orleans, Rochester, Vegas, Minnesota. 3 of those 4 will play today. Rochester plays Monday night against Miami. First down and 10 at the 32-yard line. The handoff goes to Junior McCray. Now St. Louis has gotten themselves into scoring position for the first time offensively tonight, partly due to McCray's 25 yards on 6 carries. Koizumi's going to go empty, second down and 8. Koizumi drops to throw. That pass is caught by Homer J. No gain. Jay had to make an athletic move to make that one happen. Tell you what, Salt Lake's got a new receiver, Mac Anthony, who I think is an extremely under-the-radar signing for Salt Lake. Koizumi, nice run up to the 16-yard line. Anthony will be in action for the first time tonight on Coast to Coast. We also had a couple new additions today, or this week around the league, as St. Louis has entered into the red zone. Wichita has added Aurora Ingram at free safety, wearing number 37 tonight. So look out for her in the game coming up against San Diego. First down, 10 yards to go at the 16. Also new into the game today is the kicker for St. Louis, Yurina Yuki. Yuki, the middle child of the Yuki family, and the first Yuki to kick in the UFL. 18 seconds to go in the first quarter. The handoff goes to McCray on a little counter. McCray gets to the outside, and forward progress is stopped at the 13-yard line. And that'll take us down to the end of the first quarter in Missouri, just ahead of our kickoff between Dakota and New Orleans. And to 1, the only score on the board, a defensive touchdown. Robert Brady Jr.'s 82-yard pick six has the Rivermen up 7-0, and they're knocking on the door of more points.
Ready, 18 Gator.
Koizumi out of the gun, dropping a throw. And we'll take off and run inside the 10. Tried to juke again and gets her head slammed down on the turf here in Missouri. It's 4th and 2 at the 7-yard line, and we'll see what St. Louis elects to do with a 7-0 lead. It would be a 24-yard field goal from here. And they will kick the field goal. 24 yards out to make it 10-0. That kick is good. So 10 and 24 are off the board. And St. Louis has a 10-0 advantage over Chicago. Well, the Dragons have to probably feel a little irritated with how this game has started. They didn't really give up any huge plays on that drive. They hold St. Louis to 3 points. And they're still down 10-0. Chicago at 6-5. Has had a pretty wild season. 5-2 in the Eastern Conference. They have won 3 of their last 4 games and 5 of their last 7. There are only 2 losses coming to St. Louis and Dakota. This is one of those rematches. Every team plays someone twice. Last time Chicago played St. Louis, they lost 37-13, hoping to improve on that result. In that game, Wiseman had 2 picks, 230 receiving yards. He's already got 1 today. And those interceptions for St. Louis came from Joey Duncan II and Colin Douglas. With that Jason Williams run up the middle, it's time to get our second game going here on the Game Day Gauntlet. New Orleans and Dallas. New Orleans and Dakota coming your way next. New Orleans and Dallas a couple weeks ago. There's your updated bingo numbers on the screen. As Dakota tries to do it again at 10-1. They have won their last 4 of their last 5 games by 4, 9, 1, 6, 7, and 3 points. Dakota, the top record in the league and clearly the leader in the Western Conference. They lead Austin by 4 games with 5 games remaining. And play Austin in the last week of the season as that deep shot from Koizumi is incomplete. So talking about clinching scenarios of the number 1 seed, if Dakota were to win today and Austin were to lose, then it would almost be a wrap. At that point, Dakota would have to lose out, Austin would have to win out, and then Austin would, in fact, get that tiebreaker. Or no, I beg your pardon. If Dakota wins and Austin loses, then yeah, it is a wrap. Ray Chapatulis on her first carry picks up 20 yards for New Orleans first down. That's a good start for the Claws. And they're all bright red today with the dark red or maroon trim with the white lids. Chicago's got a punt on 4th down and 5. St. Louis's defense continues to be tenacious, but that's a coffin corner kick down to the 4 for Chicago. For New Orleans, who starts with the football today, Ray Chapatulis sits at 953 rushing yards, so needs now 27 for a 1,000-yard season. She's ripped down after a gain of a yard, 86.6 yards per game. 5 touchdowns for Ray. Their quarterback is Emmanuel Blackman, who in the last month or so has really struggled with interceptions. 15 touchdowns, 15 picks, 3,035 yards on the season. QBR of 140. That is a college QBR scale that we use here in the UFL. St. Louis backed up inside their own 5-yard line. A little fullback handoff on 2nd and 9 for New Orleans. Will set up a 3rd down and manageable for them. Dakota and they're all whites today with the blue lids. There's the trio of pisters there on the defensive front. Edwards, Padre, Briggs, and Radin. At linebacker, Kuhn, Provost, Deuce, and Uchiha at corner, signed last week. That ball is incomplete from St. Louis, so a quick 3-and-out for the Rivermen, who have 3 offensive points in the first half, as they'll have to punt. And that's picked by Nuke Radin. Radin takes it all the way for Dakota. Maybe he's going to be caught. No, it's a slow-as-hell offensive lineman. He can't catch him, and Dakota's going to score. Touchdown, a 55-yard return for Nuke Radin. So 2 pick sixes on the Gauntlet to start things off. And for Radin, that is interception number 1 on the season for him. So Robert Brady and Nuke Radin, a pair of linebackers who did not have an interception all season long, get picks in the first quarter of their respective games, and just like that, Dakota's up 6-0 and gets some cheap points. Chicago's got the ball at their 40-yard line with 8:18 to go. That's another over 50, unfortunately, off the board for all the bingo players out there. That ball's caught from Wiseman by Marion. Holy smokes, up to the 43-yard line of St. Louis with 8 minutes to go in the first half. I think someone put something in my food. Well, Dakota's coaching staff has to be pretty darn happy with getting that score. Dakota's 5th defensive touchdown of the season. That's second most in the league, only behind Phoenix. Handoff Jason Williams. Couple nice little moves there. Gets 4 yards on the carry. 8 carries, 38 yards for Williams. A decent day, 62 yards on 14 carries in the last meeting. And New Orleans will try again. Not the start they wanted. That's the 16th pick from Emmanuel Blackman. And the frustrating, so, you know, Blackman had a pretty good start to the season, but he's fallen off. That ties BK Solberg with the most interceptions on the year. At least Solberg's got the 22 touchdowns. As Ray gets a couple of yards. Oh, got a yard up to the 26-yard line. Chicago up to the St. Louis 33 now. They got a shot to get some points on the board here with 6:28 to go in the first half. Handoff goes to Chapatula. She squeezes through for a 3-yard gain, so a 3rd down and 6 coming up for the Claws. That looks like a first down for Jason Williams in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And they did give him a first down. 6:08 to go in the first half. Chicago's on the move, trying to get their first points of the day. Wiseman and Blackman dropping back to throw. That one is knocked away in New Orleans and caught in St. Louis. Down to the 20-yard line. First down for Chicago. 54 passing yards so far for Wiseman. That is YOUFL with his first catch for 14 yards. Robert Brady Jr. on the tackle. Already has the interception so far today. Handoff to Williams, and he does well to push forward for a 3-yard pickup. Hope you got beautiful weather where you are today. It is a happy Sunday. We are in the midst of summer, and right now in a football dead zone. But it is never a football dead zone here on VFN. Hope you all have been enjoying the World Cup. If you're cheering for the U.S., that's obvious. If you have other cheering interests for other countries around the world, let us know. So at least I know when I'm watching highlights not to totally hate your country. That's Adam Wiseman dropping a throw. He is sacked, and now it's 4th down for Chicago. It's going to be a 43-yard field goal if they do kick it. Slim Diaz with the sack. Was that a safety blitz from Diaz coming across the coming from the outside? Excellent job there as that pass from Billy Flagg is knocked away. Looking for Liam Sykes. $43-yard field goal for Chicago is good. So 43-3 come off the board and get added to your cards. Always good to see those Dodger, what are you? My dog just randomly just showed up on my camera. That is crazy. Technology is a fickle thing. It's always good to get those 40-yard or those 40s off the bingo cards, especially early on in the Gauntlet, as Mike Coco makes a catch over the middle of the 45-yard line. Well, Clutch is going for Canada. That's self-explanatory. I think Peter's going for... Who would you go for, Peter? England? We got a first down for Dakota, 7-0. 7:42 to go in the first. Billy Flagg is going to launch one. That one underthrown and picked off by Nathan Blake. Back the other way to the 36-yard line. Blake with the long hair in the secondary. And for Blake, that's his second pick of the year. Don't often see Billy Flagg criminally underthrow footballs, but he absolutely did on that one, and New Orleans forces a turnover. Flagg not used to that humidity down in old Louisiana, and that ball just sunk into the air today in New Orleans. 10-3 St. Louis, 3:22 to go in the first half. Karen Koizumi back with the football. Hands it off to Wright, going the wrong way. Lost 4 yards. Did Toure Wright. So now it's 3rd down and 8 for St. Louis. Yep, Peters going for England. Special Olympics USA games opened last night on the ESPN Plus app. Excellent stuff there. Emmanuel Blackman going long down the sideline. No way, that was caught at the 5. Dylan Gameday, the first completion for Emmanuel Blackman today, goes for 58 yards and a New Orleans first down. How about this jump ball in the upper right-hand corner, hauled in by Central Howes for 23 yards. He was fighting with the defender all the way down to the ground. We got a pair of stellar catches right here, back-to-back on the Gauntlet. On your respective screens, Suki Padre was in coverage on Gameday, and how he kept the feet in, I have no idea. What a catch from Howes over Manson for a St. Louis first down. Blackman first and goal, and a torpedo from one of the Fisters. I got to get my roster out. They're too close together on the roster sheet. That one is Mordecai Pfister with the takedown, and he just launched himself into Emmanuel Blackman in the backfield. I had no idea the Pfisters could even jump. That's a 6-yard loss for Dakota, and a 4-yard loss in the backfield as Koizumi goes down. A Chicago defender getting back there as well. 2-minute warning in St. Louis. It's 10-3 Rivermen over the Dragons. How about New Orleans, though? 2nd and goal at the 12 after that jump ball play. Ray Chapatulis gets the carry and picks up just 1 yard. Third and goal at the 11 for New Orleans. Koizumi's going deep, and that one is caught too at the 27. That's Howes again. Unclaimed Central Howes is stepping up big time. That one is knocked away by Padre. Blackman now 1 of 4, and it's quickly 4th and goal for New Orleans, so they're going to have to settle for 3. Howes, another contested catch, I believe, on Manson again. Padre getting the mitts in the passing lanes just in time. I wonder how long it takes Padre to get ready for a game. With all those accessories on the arms. It's got to be exhausting. 28-yard field goal for New Orleans is good, and that makes it 7-3 Dakota over New Orleans, so the Claws get some points on the board following the Nathan Blake interception. First and 10 at the 16-yard line for St. Louis. Going to take off and run. Koizumi down to the 13-yard line. Our next kickoff is in Dallas. Phoenix at Dallas in about 7 minutes. Then we will be in the triple box. Koizumi, 2nd down and 7 at the 10-yard line. 46 seconds to go in the first half. 1 yard deep in the end zone, Dakota on the return. Koizumi on a 3rd down and 4, trying to keep the drive alive. Going to be sacked again. There is a flag down. It's a hold. I think Chicago will decline that. Bring up 4th down. They'll accept the penalty. This is a 36-yard field goal for St. Louis. We'll get our first 30 number off the board. As long as it's not blocked. Chicago almost got there. Couldn't get there. 36 and 13 come off the board. The kick is good, and the Rivermen take a 13-3 advantage. So Rivermen lead by 10. Chicago hanging in there. The only touchdown still in that game, well, still on the Gauntlet at all today, have been on defense. Defenses have 2 touchdowns. Offenses have 0 so far today. As the handoff goes to Lyons, he cuts it back to the 28-yard line. What can Chicago do with 26 seconds and 3 timeouts to go in the first half? It's a fast-moving game in St. Louis for sure. Billy Flagg dropping a throw. That one almost picked again. He's 1 of 4 for 7 yards. It's 4th down Dakota. Tell you what, that New Orleans defense has they've given up no points today, and now they've forced 2 punts and an interception. Woods gets in the passing lane, and so far the adjustments from New Orleans defense is working. Handoff to Jason Williams. He's dragged down from behind. Timeout Chicago. It is so annoying. It's got to be in the coding somewhere, but that first down run when the sense of urgency has not kicked in yet. I guess it was at the 20-yard line. The sense of urgency is supposed to start as soon as you get the ball, but first down sometimes can always be a little spotty. Adam Wiseman going to throw to the sideline, but the receiver was actually out of bounds. This is Chapatulis with another good run, 8 yards up the middle for New Orleans. 33 yards on 6 carries. Padre on the second tackle. Now 14 seconds to go for Chicago. Wiseman is sacked. And this time a timeout from St. Louis. They're getting greedy. They want the football. New Orleans has a first down on their own 34-yard line. St. Louis with 3 sacks, Chicago with 2 in the first half. Blackman dropping a throw on first down and 10, gets it to the 40. I don't know how much time St. Louis is going to have to work with. Chicago gets the punt off cleanly. And they're actually going to return the punt. They've got some space down to 1 second. Wow. With 46 yards to go for Karen Koizumi. Surprised they didn't attempt a 63-yard field goal the way that Yuki can kick that ball. Koizumi just throws an out pattern, and St. Louis will take it to the half, up 13-3. Phoenix and Dallas starting in about 60 seconds. Go back to New Orleans where it's 3rd down and 4 for the Claws, trailing 7-3. Blackman dropping a throw. Blackman shuffling around in the pocket, now going to take off and run. Blackman looking for the sideline. Took a long way to get there. Blackman gets a block. I think that's what he saw downfield, a 25-yard run as the defender for Dakota was in man coverage and locked in on the, that was Gameday, the tight end. And then Devin Sparks gets down the field and even picks up a block for his quarterback. Flash thinks he might have the worst bingo card ever. I'm sure someone will alert you to their misery in T-minus 10 seconds in the chat. 2nd and 8 as New Orleans is now down to the Dakota 33-yard line. You know, early on in the Gauntlet, bingo can feel a little hopeless. But, you know, as things transpire, the numbers fill out, and you think, oh, well, you know what? This isn't so bad. And you know what's also not so bad? The New Orleans Claws right now. They're in the red zone, trailing 7-3 over Dakota, but they are moving the football pretty good against the Dakota Rhinos since that interception on the first throw of the game. See, I told you, Mr. He Loves Company early on. It's early, folks. We're going to see what happens. That's another Pfister sack to the 21-yard line. This time, it's Menachem Pfister knocking at the door of Blackman in the backfield. And that is the 2nd red zone sack for the New Orleans, for the Dakota Rhinos defense, I should say, pushing Blackman outside the 20-yard line. Karen Koizumi over the middle. That pass is complete to the 39 as they've started the 3rd quarter in St. Louis. Rob's still saying that it is really that bad at the end of the Gauntlet as well. as Ray gets up to the 19-yard line. 8 carries, 40 yards for Ray here in the first half. And we'll get the final play of the first quarter. 3rd down and 16. Koizumi gets rocked in the backfield. Another sack for Chicago. Blackman over the middle. That pass is complete down to the 4. And it's 4th and inches at the 4. As we end the quarter, we'll find out what the Claws are going to do. It'd be a 21-yard field goal from here. And New Orleans is going to kick it. 21-yarder would make it 7-6, and 6 and 21 come off the board by way of the Claws field goal, and it's now 7-6. New Orleans trails now by just a point, and we are ready in Dallas. Let's go. Welcome to Texas, where the Dallas Talons at 8-3, trying to keep pace with St. Louis and New York in the crowded top of the Eastern Conference. Phoenix trying to get rolling despite a 4-7 record. They are just 1 game back of 3rd place in the West. Plenty of work to do, but plenty of time for the Phoenix Skyhawks. We'll see how their adjustments put them today. We've got Wiseman completing another catch for a first down to the 34-yard line. That was caught by Denard Byam, his 3rd catch for 31. Liam Seitz on the carry for Dakota. We didn't get a chance to talk about the Dakota side of things. Liam Seitz this season, 1,030 yards rushing with 7 touchdowns. Seitz wrapped up in the backfield there. Cameron Duty on a play-action rollout to start things off for Dallas. Gets it up to the 41-yard line. It's a pickup of 19 yards. The Dallas Talons, man, they have had an impressive season. Cameron Duty, 23 touchdowns to just 10 interceptions. That's an average of less than 1 a game. That one almost picked by St. Louis. You got Jaden Swift, who's made something of his season. He got off to a really slow start. Despite that, 983 rushing yards coming into the day, 7 touchdowns. You also have Jeff Wells, who's contributed 182 rushing yards and 173 receiving yards out of the backfield. Chicago's got a pass in past the 50-yard line of the St. Louis 47. Billy Flagg's going to take off and run on 3rd down and 13. He's not going to get it, and New Orleans gets another stop. 4th and 5. Dakota will have to punt the football. Dakota coming into the game dead last in scoring and 3rd down defense. Giving Dakota's offense some trouble. Dakota's offense has not scored today as Dallas gets the ball up to the 44-yard line. Just getting underway in Dallas, 3rd and 7 at the 44 for the Talons. Blackman is going to roll out for New Orleans, and that one is swatted away from behind. Blackman now 5 of 10. This is Duty on 3rd down and 7 on their opening drive. Takes a deep shot down the field. It is Rashad Lockley stealing that one from the goal line, nabbing it for 55 yards and called down at the 1. First down, Dallas. One-on-one coverage down the field, and Rashad Lockley is ever dangerous. That is a ridiculous catch. 753 yards, 7 touchdowns for Lockley. A little bit of a quiet season for his standards, but ever so dangerous. Adam Wiseman lost the football in the backfield, and a big ugly is going to lose 14 yards on the play It's 4th and 35. It looked like Wiseman dropped back to throw, and it hit a helmet of a player. Oh, it hit the side of one of his linemen, who ended up recovering the fumble. Phoenix trying to get a goal line stand. Blackman is sacked again. That's another one for Mordecai. Second sack for Mordecai. All the Fisters have 3 sacks for Dakota. And it's 3rd down and goal for Dallas. Chicago on 4th and 35. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they are punting. They will not be going for that one.
Come on, set. 10 Lobo.
St. Louis will start on their own 25-yard line. Still without an offensive touchdown today, as Cameron Duty on 3rd down and goal from the 3 gets the score. Rashad Lockley in for his 8th touchdown. That was too easy. And Dallas takes a 6-0 lead over Phoenix. Last week, K. Marion torched Phoenix. That was the downfall of the Phoenix Skyhawks today. How about Angel Alvarado on a screen pass all the way to the outside for a 1st down? A clever play from St. Louis, who has 200 total yards of offense despite not scoring an offensive touchdown. Look at this little bubble screen to the outside. Good blocking down the field, and Maldonado is loose into Chicago territory. Blackman has got New Orleans into Dakota territory. Another run for Tchoupitoulas, 48 yards on 10 carries at the Dakota 37-yard line. Suki Padre already up to 4 tackles. Coming up next will be San Diego and Wichita, kicking off in about 14 minutes. Gameday with the catch up to the 34-yard line. Let's go to St. Louis now, where the Rivermen are at the Chicago 29-yard line, trying to open things up here on a 2nd down and inches. They're going to go empty with Koizumi. Maybe take a shot here. They know they got 3rd down. Koizumi is going to take a shot into the end zone. It is caught for a 29-yard score. Central House able to keep the feet in. I didn't think they'd actually do it. That's a great play calling there from St. Louis, as Blackman goes long and New Orleans is back in the red zone of the 17-yard line. Howes stopping just in time before the back of the end zone with the touchdown, in St. Louis. And look at Phoenix. How did DR Sim get the football that fast? Touchdown Phoenix. A 66-yard score as the Phoenix Skyhawks strike DR Simeon on a little simple out route. And he turns the corner and there was nobody there. Touchdown Skyhawks. What a play for Phoenix's offense. Like a short corner, perhaps. Simeon into the end zone. For DR, that's his 6th touchdown. And for Central House, that is touchdown number 1 on the season for St. Louis. That is shocking. 29 and 20 come off the board. Nothing new with Phoenix's scores. The over 50 and the 7 have already hit. That extra point is good. So Phoenix in 2 plays deep down the field goes 75 yards and ties this game at 7 with Dallas. And Phoenix gives themselves a shot in the arm. 2nd and 14 for New Orleans. 6:36 to go in the first half. This is Blackman dropping a throw. Blackman fires and had a man crossing over the goal line, but passed a little bit off target. So now it's 3rd down and 14. New Orleans gets down in the red zone, and they have been clamped up by Dakota so far today. St. Louis opening things up against Chicago, 20-3. 5:31 to go in the 3rd quarter. Deep shot for Blackman. That was almost caught by Cameron Bailey. Can't fault him for the end zone shot there. Bailey unable to hang on, so a 37-yard field goal now is possible for New Orleans. Chicago's got to get moving. They lost to St. Louis their first meeting, 37-13. One of their biggest losses of the season. 37-yard field goal attempt for New Orleans. That kick is good, and New Orleans, despite no offensive touchdowns, has taken the lead on Dakota. 37-9 come off the board. And Dakota and Chicago are now your only teams, and New Orleans, without an offensive touchdown today. Colin Douglas and Robert Brady Jr. combined for that stop. Cameron Duty and the Dallas Talons back to work. Dump it off to Jaden Swift. That picks up a couple yards. Dallas did not score from the 1-yard line, Michaela. They were actually pushed back to the 3. And they scored on 3rd and goal from the 3. So that's no number 1 off the board. Cameron Duty over the middle. That is incomplete, and Phoenix gets a defensive stop. 4th down and 5. Looking for Neil Rivers over the middle. Rivers has been kind of quiet recently. Let's check his numbers. Rivers, 565 yards and 4 touchdowns, averaging 50 yards receiving a game. 9-7, New Orleans over Dakota so far. Wow, that's a couple of just brilliant moves on the sideline as Dallas has to punt. Doug Day looks like he's got a new leg out there. Gets it up to the 40-yard line. Makes 1 miss, 2, maybe 3 people miss. They collide, run into each other. Man, great camera work there by our crew in New Orleans. Phoenix has the football back after the stop. 7-7, 7:12 to go in the first quarter. Joe Tillo down to the bottom of the screen. That's caught for a 9-yard gain. Hand off. I think that's Corey Preston. Yep, his second carry for Chicago. 2:35 to go in the third quarter, and the Dragons trying to slow play the Rivermen, but they got to get points and in a hurry coming up here. Toss play. DJ did get a block on the outside, but it was shut down pretty quickly. Scotty Scruggs with the tackle for Dallas. Looking at the defensive leaderboards in the league, I figured Scruggs was on there. He's 7th in the league in tackles with 105 per game. Theodore Blackman and E.K. Vincent at the top of the tackle leaderboards with 123 each. The player with the most sacks in the top 25 of tackles is San Diego's Zach Cobb. A false start on Dakota takes them from a 3rd down and 3 to a 3rd down and 8. Billy Flagg dropping a throw. Flagg is sacked. A loss of 12. Bush with the takedown. 4th and 19, and Dakota has to punt again. The adjustments for New Orleans are working. Wiseman's pass picked off at the 39-yard line, and St. Louis might have another one. Colin Douglas, touchdown, Rivermen. And St. Louis now pouring it on against Chicago for the 2nd time this season. For Colin Douglas, that is interception number 3 on the year, to go along with 10 pass breakups. Phoenix into Dallas territory. Michaela, no. And you know, it's interesting. You know, a different, I guess a different defense up front. Extra point for St. Louis is good. Another 50-plus off the board, but 27 is now off the board. Coming up tonight on Coast to Coast, it is Eric Vincent and Brett Solberg on New York and Minnesota Sunday at 6 Eastern, and Tyler Falk and Josh Zirkle for Los Angeles and Salt Lake. That LA Salt Lake game should be a doozy. Both those teams in the slog of the Western Conference, hoping for a win. LA's got the momentum. They only lost to Dakota 31-27 last week. Played a very impressive game. And then Salt Lake's got some momentum as well with that new signing of Mac Anthony bolstering their offense. They also got some defensive tweaks this week after that defense has really been struggling. Adam Wiseman now 0 touchdowns and 4 interceptions against St. Louis's defense this season. Down 27-3 with 51 seconds to go in the third quarter. This is Wiseman with a deep shot. That's caught down to the St. Louis 47-yard line. That is a really good catch as Blackman drops that one off to Devin Sparks. And New Orleans is in the across the 50. Coming up on the 2-minute warning, up 9-7 over the Rhinos. Phoenix can't do anything with their last offensive possession. They actually hand the ball off. I think that was a 4th down. And it's not DJ in the game. The power back was in for Phoenix. 2-minute warning for New Orleans. They're up 9-7 with the football. Chicago is across the 50 of St. Louis. It is technically still a 3-score game there, but they only got a quarter to go. Cameron Duty on a play fake. Phoenix brought the blitz and thrown down. That is Seven Martin with the sack. A loss of 10 yards. Tons of sacks across the league so far today. Martin comes in on a safety blitz and makes a beeline to the quarterback. Cameron Duty could not get rid of it. Second down's at the top of the screen. San Diego and Vegas have been sacked the least amount of times this season with 19. Dakota's been sacked the most with a whopping 43. Nuke Raiden on that last tackle. Dakota also has the most sacks with 53. That is 10 more than the next team. They already have 3 today. Nice move by Chapatulis on the sideline. Austin has the least amount of sacks with just 19. That's a little surprising. First down and 10 for Wiseman. He's got Chicago in the red zone to the 17-yard line. Blackman now throws and is swatted away with 1:13 to play in the half. 11 of 20 is Blackman so far today. No huddle for Chicago. 2nd and 7 at the 17. This is Wiseman dropping a throw. That pass is caught. Touchdown. 17-yard score for Chicago. Gets that number off the board. And that is Kay Marion with the score. Marion adds another to her resume this season. Touchdown number 5, and that is the first touchdown thrown by Adam Wiseman against St. Louis this season. 27-9, and so now Chicago has an opportunity to make it a 2-score game, going for 2 with 11:25 to go. New Orleans ends up punting it away down to the 6. They hand it off to Jason Williams up the middle, and Stug Howard Jr. making his 3rd tackle and the stop, so it will remain a 3-score game in St. Louis, 27-9 with 11:25 to go in the 4th quarter. Phoenix is backed up on their own 2 as Dallas hopes for a safety here. 1st and 10 at the 2-yard line. They hand it off on a jet sweep. That was kind of a risky move there from Phoenix, but it pays off, and Joe Tillo is now 6 of 6 for 127 yards and a touchdown. Flag also throwing out of his own end zone to Liam Seitz down to the 10-yard line. That was Sansbino on a tight end jet sweep for Phoenix inside your own 3-yard line. That takes some guts. Billy Flagg dropping a throw on a 2nd down and 6. Still 40 seconds to go in the first half of that game. Joe Tillo stays perfect. 7 of 7 for 142. That is DR Sim with his 3rd catch already and 167 total yards for the team. Not just for DR. Third down and 2 at the 15 for Flag. Koizumi's numbers, 13 of 16, 189 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. This is Flag down to the 32-yard line. 36 seconds to go. Dakota calls their second timeout. Odds are unlikely for Dakota, but you gotta try it, especially down 2. Phoenix, after giving up that deep ball to Rashad Lockley, has looked pretty sharp. Although I did that. I'm sorry, Phoenix. Incompletion, the first of the day, thrown into the dirt. 3rd down and 4 for Phoenix. Junior McCray, 11 carries for 41 yards, has a St. Louis first down. Joe Tillo on a 3rd and 4 goes empty and completes the catch for the first down. Dakota does get down into field goal range. How about that? A deep shot to Tony Horn Jr., another guy in the league that's been kind of quiet. The tight ends kind of quiet this season. Tony Horn Jr., 600 yards and 4 catches were ready for game 4. Wichita welcomes San Diego into the quad box. 5-6 Wildcats, 6-5 Wichita Flyers. Here's your next kickoff here on the Game Day Gauntlet. Billy Flagg taking off and running, and they didn't get the timeout in time. Dakota walks away with nothing. How much time did they have on the clock there? It was down to 7, down to 6. Yeah, so they snapped the football, but Billy Flagg's got to get down, and by the time they marked him down, the time had run out. Wow, by a fraction of a second, and Dakota is arguing that perhaps there was a little home cooking with the clock as they let that tick away down to 0. Joe Tillo gets Phoenix up to the 40-yard line, but either way, New Orleans is going to lead Dakota at the break 9-7 despite Nuke Raden's pick 6 early on in the contest. San Diego trying to get back to 500. They'll be watching the Los Angeles game tonight and the Austin game coming up in about 20 minutes very closely. San Diego ousted by the Dakota Rhinos in the playoffs last season. That was almost picked by Will Todd. Another dangerous ball for Chicago despite getting that stop to start the 4th quarter. 8:29 to play there in St. Louis. Joe Tillo dropping a throw. He will fire. That's incomplete. Dakota will start with the ball in the second half. 27-9 St. Louis, 9-7 New Orleans, 7-7 Dallas and Phoenix. We're just underway in Kansas. This is Joe Tillo taking a deep shot into the end zone. It is intercepted. Overthrown ball picked off by Palmer. An arm punt basically for Joe Tillo. Flag gets rocked. And Kyron Rucker's got a first down to the 44-yard line for San Diego. That is a pickup of 30 yards for Rucker. I think Chicago, that was a 4th down. There goes Liam Seitz, heads up. Liam Seitz down the sideline, 15-10. He's going to be caught by that ankle at the 7-yard line. A touchdown-saving tackle. Finally, Liam Seitz able to get going, and Dakota gets their first explosive play offensively of the day. Seitz was nicked. Almost looks like he was shanked at on the back of the leg. Down to the 7-yard line, Dakota is in business finally offensively. 2nd and 10 for Chicago. Dumped off over the middle. Going to be 3rd down there. Payne Price takes the handoff, and Price means business down to the 25-yard line. Your clubhouse leaders in the run game this season. Payne Price by a mile. 1,443 yards and 9 touchdowns. He averages 131 yards a game. He is the only UFL player to average over 100 rushing yards a game. He would need 557 yards as Flag has a 4-yard touchdown. Finally, Dakota's offense is in the end zone. Your bingo numbers will return at the conclusion of the New Orleans-Dakota game. We'll get them back on your screen. But Dakota retakes the lead on a solid drive to start the second half. And for Billy Flagg, that is rushing touchdown number 4 on the season. San Diego is the closest to scoring position. As I was saying about Price, he needs 557 yards in his last 5 games to have a 2,000-yard season. I think he can do it.
Ready? 60 Pittsburgh. 54. Man, I got you. Man, I got you.
Oh, wow. Hospital pass for Chicago. Hospital pass for San Diego. Ouch. 1 of 3 for 30 yards for Holdorf on the drive. Rucker took a thick hit right to the ribs. 14-9. Dakota gets 2 numbers off your bingo cards. 4 and 14, your first numbers since we hit the quad box. So Dakota takes the lead on the opening drive of the third quarter, thanks in large part to a big run from Liam Seitz. 10:20 to go in the third quarter there. Dallas has to punt again. Phoenix's defense has stepped up since that opening drive. 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. Dallas will boot it away. Chicago's got the football on 4th and 10. They are going for it with 6:25 to go. That was a field goal for Capellini and San Diego. That was a 44-yard kick. So 4, 14, and 44 off the board since we put our 4th game up on the screen. That almost feels impossible. Little end around to Jet Monroe, and he jetted backwards for a couple yards. Suki Padre in the vicinity. All right, let's go. Who is the closest scoring position? I believe that's going to be, well, Chicago just was unable to convert the 4th down, so Karen Koizumi is going to take over. False start on Phoenix. We really don't have anybody. Nobody's across the 50 right now. We got some UFL gear arriving in this next week for a couple of you. Peter over in the UK and Ellie over in Australia. Our first international shippings. Have to let us know what you think of them as Delro picks up a couple yards. Phoenix in a tie game at 7. Tillo drops that one off to Andy Sands. That picks up a few. 3rd down and 9. Kind of erase the penalty yardage. And New Orleans has to punt on the opening drive of the second half. Not a good start to this third quarter for New Orleans, now trailing 14-9 and giving Dakota the football back. St. Louis has a first down to the 45-yard line as Delro's got some open space up to the 38 for Wichita.
Down. 18 Gator. Shoot.
Flip outside. The block was missed. Jake Riley counts for a 1-yard loss. Livingston, who saved the touchdown earlier, makes that play. San Diego just got a pick. Interception. Wildcats. They stepped in front of what looked like maybe a bubble screen. And that one is taken back by one of the newer additions to San Diego's roster. That is Carver Clark with the pick. Another pick 6 today here on the Gauntlet. And early on in the game, too, took it right away from R.J. Gilmer. Carver Clark playing in his 7th game as a Wildcat, just his 2nd interception. And that return went for 40. So 4, 14, 44, and 40 off the board since we put the fourth game on the screen. We need a 34 next. We really want to complete that cycle. 10-0 Wildcats. Bad pick by BK Solberg, who now once again leads the league in interceptions. 17 in 11 games is not going to get it done. Dallas has the football back. 5:55 to go in the first half. This is Cameron Duty firing it to the sideline. That is incomplete. 6 of 10 for 84 yards and a touchdown. Deep shot down the field is incomplete for Billy Flagg. 2 yards deep in the end zone. Wichita puts the knee down. 4th and 2. St. Louis goes for it, hands it off to Junior McCray, and gets the first down. That was Solberg's first pass of the day, by the way. Goes for a pick six. Under 3 to play in St. Louis as the Rivermen are running out the clock. That game going to end early. Our final kickoff, Vegas and Austin getting underway in about 10 minutes. Cameron Duty is taken down on 3rd down and 7. Another sack for the Phoenix Skyhawks, and it'll be another punt for Dallas. It's a surprising stalemate between Dallas and Phoenix right now. Both these teams with explosive offenses, but the defenses are having their way so far. Tony Horn Jr. with the reception. I meant to look up who your leader is at tight end in receiving this season. That would be Sauce K of Salt Lake, 841 yards and 4 touchdowns. We'll see him tonight as Salt Lake welcomes Los Angeles. Salt Lake also has Mia Pangori in the top 5 in receiving at number 5, 1,032 yards. We'll also see Fergus Henderson and McKay Breeze of Los Angeles. They're also in the top 25 in receiving yards. St. Louis still running the clock out. And Phoenix picks up a first down at the 46-yard line.
Break. 56. Right here. Right up.
That is a field goal for St. Louis. That'll give us 30 off the board. And the field goal is from 41. We almost did it, folks. 30 and 41 come off the board. And St. Louis leads 30-9. Dakota back into the New Orleans red zone. The Rhinos have come out in the second half on fire. And another interception for San Diego's defense. That time it was Ricky Tidwell. Another newcomer to this San Diego defense. Tidwell's been there now in his fifth game. He already has 4 interceptions. And when you look at the interceptions leaders around the league, Kadarius Parker of St. Louis has 5. Vinny Zonka of Phoenix has 5. And the crazy thing about that is that Vinny Zonka's only played 8 games. And Ricky Tidwell has only played 5 games to this point. He now has 4 picks at the top of the leaderboards. Rick Kuhn, Trevante James, and Bjorn McLean all have 4 at pass. Oh, Nathan Blake just nabbed his second one. Second interception of the day for Nathan Blake. New Orleans picks off Billy Flagg. Nathan Blake coming into the game only had 1 pick. He's got 2 interceptions in New Orleans' rework defense. The Claws will take over with 4:18 to go in the third, 14-9. This is Joe Tillo. That's only a pickup of 1 yard. Following another interception for San Diego's defense, it is now going to be a 3rd down and 13 for the Wildcats. So Wichita hoping to get off the field there. 2-minute warning in Dallas. We're tied at 7. Gabba's in the house. And I think a face mask there on St. Louis. They're almost out of time in that game. That game is almost over. Joe Tillo drops to throw. That pass is complete to the 23-yard line. Now this is Holdorf over the middle on 3rd and 13, and he got 14. The perfect pass in the perfect moment for San Diego. Zach Holdorf to Kyron Rucker. Another first down for the Wildcats to keep the drive alive. Final stages for Wiseman over the middle. Another flag on St. Louis. Chicago trying to save face here with 8 seconds left. Fling out. Doesn't do anything for San Diego. They're now 3 of 5 for 44 yards. Wow, New Orleans had to punt again. They just have not had it in the third quarter offensively. Still looking for their first touchdown. Dakota's offense has only scored 7 points. Pretty decent field position coming up for them. Wiseman on the final play of the game, fumbled the ball, and Antonio Flash picks it up. He's going to go the distance, the big man, all the way trying to be caught by the offensive player. Preston can't get to him, and Flash gets a fumble 6 and makes it 36-9 to cap off a brilliant day for the St. Louis defense. Their 3rd defensive touchdown of the ball game, and the Rivermen are going to ascend to 9-3. Touchdown San Diego, a 25-yard score. The Wildcats pouring it on. Holdorf's first touchdown of the day. How about Antonio Flash, who's live here with us in the chat? Now it's an awesome play. No new numbers off the board, but 25 does come off the board. Man, oh man, Colin Douglas, Antonio Flash. 25 came off the board for San Diego. This is a 31-yard field goal for Phoenix. That kick is good. And you know what 3 + 1 equals 4. 31 comes off the board for Phoenix. They now lead 10-7. So now it's 17-0. San Diego is shocking Wichita here in the first quarter. That's a wrap in St. Louis, 37-3. Let's go back to New Orleans, where it's 14-9 Dakota, 2nd and 4. Coming up on the end of the third quarter, Billy Flagg is taken down. Anthony with the sack. The Archangels cannot be denied. Certainly. Coming into the week, St. Louis #1 scoring defense at 17 points allowed per game. New York #2 at 17.1. Dakota #3 at 17.3. What do all 3 of those teams have in common? They're at the top of the standings. And Dallas is 4th at 19.5. End of the third quarter, 14-9 Dakota. They got the football. Let's go to Dallas. 50 seconds to go in the first half. 10-7 Phoenix. Vegas and Austin kicking off in a couple of minutes. Gabo wants a Wichita comeback. They're going to have to get moving. The good news is when you fall behind this early, another deep shot to Rashad Lockley in the final minute of this game here in the first half. 180, that's a 69-yard catch for Rashad Lockley, up to 134 passing yards for Cameron Duty, and I think they've all gone to either Neil Rivers or Rashad Lockley. Man, that is just a perfect ball, and Dallas is back in the red zone.
Hurry.
Dakota's got a punt. Big-time stop there for New Orleans. Early in the fourth quarter, Cameron Duty from 6 yards out. Duty is taken down. Loss of 7. Wow, Wichita just went 3 and out. What is up with the Flyers today? Had a great conversation with Timothy Shea. over the week, customizing some more players around the league. Shea's a good dude, wearing that number 8 for Wichita today. If you were wondering who's wearing number 8, that is Timothy Shea with a number change today. Chapatulis on the sideline of Dakota, getting out to past the 40. Cameron Duty is sacked again. So the deep shot to Rashad Lockley gets Dallas into the red zone, and then Cameron Duty now has taken back-to-back sacks. Emmanuel Blackman to throw, finds Cameron Duty. That is a first down to the Dakota 40-yard line. New Orleans trying to manifest some points. 5 carries, 5 receptions, 48 yards for Cameron Bailey. Third down and goal at the 23. That passes on a check down to Miles Savage, and a field goal coming for Dallas. Zach Holdorf, play action fake, and he's got an open receiver to pick up 18 yards. And we're ready in Austin. We got Dallas and Austin going in the final game of the final kickoff of the Game Day Gauntlet. Blackman goes down, a loss of 10. That's Nuke Raiden with a sack. How about this day for Nuke Raiden? 5 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 sack, a touchdown. There goes Phoenix. They blocked the field goal. Phoenix blocked the kick as time expires at the end of the first half, and they take a 9-point lead over Dallas. That would have been a 35 off your bingo cards. Instead, it is Phoenix with a special teams touchdown. That is now the 9th score. Nnamdi Njuka returns the block field goal for a score. That is the 9th defensive or special team score by Phoenix this year. They lead the league in that department, and the Skyhawks just took a 9-point lead, potentially 10-point lead, and that is what they will take into the first half or the second half. Wow, 17-7. Phoenix on top of Dallas by 10. That was a monster play there by the Phoenix Skyhawks special teams units. So all red for New Orleans, all red for Austin, all white for Vegas. Austin's going to start with the football here, and Nico Rightway has his first catch for 11 yards. Every time I look down to the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, Zach Holdorf's doing something else amazing. 6 of 8 for 106 yards and a touchdown. 4 catches for Kyron Rucker today. Hand off to Mike Woodstone. Woodstone for Austin picks up 4 yards. 14-9, Dakota with 8:20 to go in the fourth quarter. That is our game with the least amount of time remaining. And once that game concludes, we'll have our bingo numbers back up on the screen. Second down and 6. Woodstone is crushed in the backfield. That is Cameron Bumpers. Good start for the Vegas run defense. Third down and 7. You know, we mentioned those top defenses in the league earlier. Vegas is 5th at 21.6 points per game. That has not been their problem. Their problem is on offense, last in the league in scoring at 15.7 points per game. That is despite scoring 36 last week in a win over Salt Lake. Blackman dumps that one off. Jet Monroe got 3 yards on the play. It is 4th and 7 for New Orleans, and they're going to have to kick again. That's a nice catch on the sideline, flipping the 42s. Pickup of 16 yards to Rightway. And New Orleans is going to be kicking maybe a 37-yard field goal, which is already off the board. We'll see what we get here. Joe Tillo dropping a throw for Phoenix to start the second half. They get the football, and Andy Sands has it. 19 of 26 for 250 yards for Phoenix. They have been moving the ball down the field. 36 is the number off the board, but 12 is a new number. 12's a new number as New Orleans makes it 14-12. Touchdowns beats field goals almost every time. And speaking of, a 42-yard touchdown score for Mike Churchill. He is in the end zone again. He beats the coverage down the sideline. And that's a walk-in for Mike Churchill. Churchill now with 14 touchdowns. That's 4 more than any other player in the league, and that's 6 more than any other player not in an Austin Lone Stars uniform. That kick is good. It's 7-0 Austin. Remember, we talked earlier in the program about how the Lone Stars have essentially ditched all their heavy sets, all their heavy looks, because these 3 receivers are just so talented. They felt like they just were not taking, they just weren't reaching their full potential on offense, even though they led the team in scoring. Heck of a risk by the Austin Lone Stars, but so far it has paid off. Beaverhausen's got 65 catches. Churchill's got 54. Nico Rightway's got 42. And Mika Friday's got 49. As Matt Chima will start the offense for Vegas. Down 7-0. Chima starts with a pass. That is a ridiculously big hit. Clutch grab gets up. He's upset. Thought there might be an unnecessary roughness there. He got no call. San Diego just kicked a field goal from 46 yards away. Folks, the 40s are flying off your bingo cards today. If you got a bunch of 40, there goes Dakota. Oh, what a move by Doug Day. The new leg looks so good for Doug Day today. First down to the 19-yard line. Look at this pretty move. Wow. Made 2 people miss. San Diego up 20-0. But one of the stories of the Gauntlet right now is we usually have such a hard time getting you the 40s. Today, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, and 46 all off the board right now. Billy Flagg dropping a throw. Dakota's in the red zone, up 14-12. Lost the ball. It's picked up by Dakota. Oh, that could have been a game-changing play for New Orleans, but Liam Seitz is there for the recovery. Chima across the middle has a first down for Vegas. Wow. Flagg got crushed. Wichita on a 2nd down and 10. Fires to the near side, and Timothy Shea got roasted. San Diego, man, they have come to play. Vegas picks up a few yards on first down, 2nd down and 7. This is Flagg. 5:45 to go in the 4th, and a miscommunication with one of his receivers. 3rd and 10 for BK Solberg. That's going to be caught for a first down. Now Dallas has a 3rd down and 9 at the 37. Clutch has another first down to the 3rd and inches to the Austin 44-yard line. Good start for Vegas's offense. This is Cameron Duty on a 3rd down and 9. He's sacked again. Saint now up to 1.5 sacks for Phoenix, and Dallas is going to have to punt. They're starting to feel a little bit nervous here. Nitro's first carry did not pick up the first down, so 4th and inches coming up for Vegas. Billy Flagg takes off and runs inside the 5. Flagg is brought down to the 1-yard line. How did New Orleans keep him out of the end zone? That touchdown-saving tackle brought to you by Anthony Claiborne, the corner. Vegas is going for it on 4th down and inches, upper left. Handoff, Nitro got the first down. Watch the pylon cam. Claiborne clawing Billy Flagg back at the goal line, and now what is Dakota going to do? Vegas a successful 4th down attempt. They still have the football at the Austin 41-yard line. Dakota going to play it safe. Yeah, it's a pretty good strategy. New Orleans has not scored a touchdown all day long, and that field goal is up and good. It's an 18-yard field goal. That's another new number off the board, and Dakota takes a 17-12 lead. Solberg over the middle. That pass is deflected. 3 and out again for Wichita. That is an ugly, ugly scene in Wichita right now. There goes Jack Nitro inside the 20, down to the 15-yard line. 3 carries, 25 yards in the first quarter for Jack Nitro, and this Vegas Devils offense is playing their game here on the opening drive in Austin. Wichita at 6-5. Just not playing well at all. There's a sack for Payne for Dallas. We are tracking Vegas in the red zone right now. The handoff goes to Nitro. That lost 2 yards. Wichita has laid a couple stinkers recently, but it was against Dakota and New York. San Diego has a losing record. This is not good news for the Flyers, as clutch grab did not really do a good job blocking there. Cameron Bailey's got his 6th catch from Emmanuel Blackman. Ethan Flowers is taken down. That is a really excellent open field tackle by Austin Xander Fowler. 3rd down and 9 for Vegas at the 14-yard line. 4:25 to go in the first quarter. Jet Monroe with a catch up to the Dakota 46-yard line. New Orleans is moving it. Chima looking, firing in the end zone. That pass is caught. Touchdown Vegas on their opening drive. And that, a deep shot for New Orleans. They're in the red zone. Dylan Gameday down to the Dakota 14-yard line. That pass for Vegas caught by Jamin Glover. I got to be honest with you. Who the hell is that? He doesn't have a catch all season. And he just caught a touchdown for Vegas. What are the odds? Now they're reviewing the play. New Orleans is 14 yards away from taking the lead in this game, but they've really struggled in the red zone so far today. The touchdown will stand for Vegas. Did we get a number on that score? It was a 14-yard score, so that's already off the board. 12-play, 74-yard drive for Vegas. Blackman, 3rd down and 7. Into the back of the end zone. Touchdown, New Orleans from 11 yards out. And the Claws, for the first time today, score an offensive touchdown. They retake the lead over the Dakota Rhinos. That catch for New Orleans by Brandon Worley. That is only his 9th catch of the season and his 2nd touchdown. Holdorf is still moving. 37 rushing yards and plenty of passing yards. Now New Orleans will go for 2. Ray Chapatulis almost got it on the roll-in. She sits on top of the defender, and if it wasn't for the defender above her, then I don't think she would have made it. Or I think she would have made it. New Orleans now up 18-17. And Phoenix just picked off Cameron Duty. Adam Watts with the takeaway. Phoenix with 4:19 to go in the 3rd quarter, up 10 with the football. Let's go. Let's see. What do we got? We got, let's go back to Austin. Well, we're going to go back to New Orleans here in a minute. 2:56 to go in the 4th. What can New Orleans defense do? They've given up 1 offensive touchdown today. Joe Tillo's numbers, 22 of 31 for 280. Can New Orleans pull off what would be a huge upset? 10-1 versus 3-8. Billy Flagg takes off and runs to start. He gets crushed from the side. Gets 6, 51 yards on 7 carries. Shai Ronnie over the middle to the 44-yard line. 1st down for Vegas. Play fake. Zach Holdorf going to air it out deep. That pass is picked. And Wichita finally with some momentum. Andy Sands into the end zone. Touchdown Phoenix from 32 yards out. So there's your momentum if you're the Wichita Flyers. Finally a mistake by San Diego. Nice jump ball win on the sideline. That was Russ Harper, the corner. 2-minute warning in New Orleans. Sands just gets inside the pylon, and how about the Phoenix Skyhawks in Dallas today? They are now up 23-7. The extra point for Phoenix is up and good. And the Skyhawks take a 17-point lead on the road. 324 total yards of offense against a Dallas defense that is stingy. Dallas gives up 384 yards a game. That's actually 10th in the UFL. I thought that would be a much better stat line for the Talons there. Dallas gives up the 4th most points. So bend but not break. And what happened there? Did Chris Delro, someone fumbled for Wichita? Oh, they tried to flip it out to Timothy Shea. He got rocked, and it's recovered by San Diego. Unbelievable. The Flyers just cannot catch a break today, and neither can the Vegas defense. 59-yard score, Annie Beaverhausen, touchdown, Austin. 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns for Ronnie and the Lone Stars. Meanwhile, we got to go back to New Orleans because Dakota has put themselves in scoring position. It would be a 43-yard field goal from here. I just got a message from one member of my community. I'll read it to you in a minute. Billy Flagg going to take off and run. Gets to the 23-yard line. Another timeout, Dakota. 1:35 to go in the 4th quarter. The extra point is good for Austin, and they're up 14-7. Happy Father's Day, Cam. You may not be a father, but you are the Virtual Football Network's daddy. That is one way to put it today, folks. Dallas has a first down to the 37-yard line. 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. And Dallas has to get moving and moving quick. Taylor with his 3rd catch. San Diego trying to get in the red zone again. 1st and goal at the 4. Holdorf going to drop to throw. He gets crushed. Pass is caught anyway. But Mills unable to get in. Only a 1-yard gain. Well, what can Vegas do to answer? They scored a touchdown on their opening drive. There have been 0 stops in Austin. Holdorf from the 3, 2nd down and goal. He is dropped, loss of 4. 3rd and goal at the 7. Meanwhile, Liam Seitz is up to the 10-yard line. New Orleans is out of timeouts. I don't think that Dakota's running no huddle. I don't know what. Why is Dakota throwing the ball? They're down 1. That pass is caught on the sideline. The clock will continue to run. 1 minute to go. I don't know if Dakota's just trying to test fate or what. Or they love to win in the most dramatic fashion. San Diego's got a touchdown from 7 yards out. That is a bloodbath there, folks. Billy Flagg's throwing again with 45 seconds to go on a check down. And now they're back to the 5-yard line with 40 seconds left. It's 2nd and goal for Dakota. I don't know what they're trying to prove out here. The defending champs are just playing with New Orleans right now. If the Claws can just get a stop here. 26 seconds to go. Flagg is throwing again, and they get a touchdown in the back of the end zone. Mike Coco, you cannot make this stuff up. Even when Dakota does the wrong thing, they still win. That's a 5-yard touchdown, and 5's off the board. Look at Coco right on the sideline, had the 2 feet in. And now Dakota will go for 2 with 24 seconds to go. New Orleans will get the ball back. I suppose there's an outside shot. Billy Flagg is going to be sacked. So now 23 comes off the board. Dallas down the sideline. This is Jaden Swift down to the 3. Finally, Dallas getting something going with 41 seconds to go in the third. Jack Nitro's got a first down for Vegas. This is just their second drive of the first half. They scored the touchdown on their opening drive. 24 seconds to go in the fourth quarter of play. 23-18 Dakota. Are they really about to do this again? If Dakota wins this game, that would take them to 11 wins on the season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now 7 wins would come by 1 score. If the Rhinos can hold on in the final 24 seconds. Hoping that Vegas can stun Austin and Dakota can clinch the #1 seed in the West today. And a 27-0 shellacking in Wichita. Third down and 7 for Vegas at midfield. Mac Chima dropping to throw. Chima fires. That's caught down to the Austin 38-yard line. $111 yards for Vegas. And a touchdown for Dallas. That's Jaden Swift. So the Dallas Talons, or no, I'm sorry. What is Swift doing? He was tackled at the 2-yard line. No, why are they marking him down? What's happening right now? Swift scores from 3 yards out. They give him a touchdown. I don't know why they're marking him. It's second and goal at the 2. Oh, Chima had a guy open and just missed him. Solberg throws into triple coverage. It's 3 and out again for Wichita. This is humiliating for the Flyers. Unbelievable. That extra point is good, so I guess the run did count from Swift. That goes for 3. No new numbers there. Dallas gets on the board. 24-14 Phoenix, and Dakota has won. Dakota has beaten New Orleans. We've seen this a few times this season. There was a pass interference call on Dakota, but there wasn't a throw to the end zone because the penalty reset the situation, and New Orleans comes up about 9 yards short of a victory here today. That is a brutal way to end, and the hits just keep on coming for the Claws. But the good news for New Orleans, they played a fantastic game today defensively against Dakota. They really bottled them up. They held them over or under 400 yards. Mac Chima on a 3rd down and 12 is sacked by Max Superset, and that is our first defensive stop of that game. The Claws, so close, will fall to 3-9, but they played a much better game against the now 11-1 Dakota Rhinos, with 7 of their 11 wins coming by 1 score this season. Joe Tillo is carving up the Dallas Talons, man. He is having such a phenomenal game today. Zach Holdorf's pass incomplete, almost caught off the bobble. 9 of 16 is Holdorf, so Vegas will punt it away. And that punt will go out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Not bad. All right, so we bring your bingo numbers back, and those are your updated numbers. In case you were unable to follow along earlier. 50 rushing yards for Zach Holdorf as that game's about to go to halftime. Mercilessly for Wichita. All right, Vegas, what you got on defense here? 8:33 to go in the first half. 14-7 Austin. Play action from Shy Ronnie. Ronnie over the middle. That is complete. 7 of 7 for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns for Shy Ronnie. That goes to Mike Churchill. This Austin Lone Star offense looking sharp. Zach Holdorf now 66 rushing yards on 4 carries. That ends the first half, and Holdorf has been a beast today in Wichita. San Diego trying to get to 6-6. That would be good enough for third in the Western Conference. They finish off at LA, who they lost to 42-34 this season in one of their collapse games. Salt Lake, Austin, and Phoenix. So a tough ending stretch for San Diego. Wow, Beaverhausen almost shook all those defenders. 8 of 8 now for Shy Ronnie. Scruggs wraps up Sans Bino, but Phoenix is on the move once again.
Ready to break.
Right over there. Yeah. Mike, 58, right there. Pick it up, guys. Pick it up.
Joe Tillo dropping a throw. 9:35 to go in that ball game, and Phoenix, it's Andrews' 5th catch. Phoenix gets a touchdown. They would go up by 3 scores again. Dallas really needs to hold them to 3 points. Shy Ronnie is now 9 of 9 passing. Vegas can't stop a cold. That pass is caught at the 10. DR Simeon. Joe Tillo's almost up to over 400 passing yards. We've had, let's see, Tillo has had 2 games this season over 400 passing yards. Touchdown, Mike Woodstone, a 55-yard touchdown run for Austin. Austin has 3 touchdowns of over 40 yards in the first half. Charles just missed them. You got to make the tackle right there. Woodstone's 6th touchdown of the season. His previous long was 75, and Austin's got 3 touchdowns on 3 drives. It's 20-7. Solberg dumps that off into the flat, gets nothing. And the extra point for Austin is good, 21-7.
Come on, set. 90 Wolf.
4-play, 90-yard drive for Austin, and it's up to Vegas' offense now to keep pace. Third and goal at the 10. Dallas needs a stop. They are on upset watch right now with 7:52 to go in the 4th quarter. 33 passes, 11 runs for Phoenix's offense here today. Tillo on 3rd and goal from the 10. Dropping a throw, he is sacked. So Dallas does, in fact, Ryan Van Holten with the takedown. Dallas does, in fact, force a field goal. It would be a 32-yard field goal from here, already off the board. That would make it a 27-14 advantage for Phoenix. If Phoenix gets the win, they would improve to 5-7. Muck up that Western Conference even more. That would put more pressure on Salt Lake. Wichita almost had their punt blocked tonight against Los Angeles. The field goal is good for Phoenix. It's 27-14. Skyhawks on top. No new numbers. Oh, what was that? Are you kidding me? Pick 6 touchdown Austin off a deflection. What did we just see? Fitzgerald with a pick. That is unfair. Chima's pass ricochets off of Mike O'Neal into the arms of Fitzgerald, and Austin walks it in. Are you serious? Wow. Almost hit the ground. Fitzgerald scoops it up. That is unbelievable. His 2nd interception of the season. His first was a 104-yard pick 6. We have another defensive. Wow, I think he scooped that off the ground. That is unbelievable. We have another defensive score. Let's go back to Dallas. That game has the least amount of time remaining with 6:53 to go in the 4th. It's up to the Talons now to get things moving. That touchdown is going to stand. That is, Peter said it best in the chat. Man, that's just cruel. The extra point is good for Austin. It's 28-7. We got to get the return yardage from Fitzgerald. That is a 36. I want to give you all another number here. I'm going to call that a 38-yard pick six for Fitzgerald to get us another number there. 28-7 Austin on 4 bananas plays, all 38 yards or more. And Vegas, I mean, before you blink, is down 28-7. There are 3 drives in this game where touchdown, punt, pick. And just like that, it's 28-7 already. 4th and inches, Dallas going for it. They most certainly did get it with 5.5 to go in the quarter. Chima 11 of 14 for 81 yards and a touchdown before that interception. He'll start first down in the empty. Chima, deep shot down the field. Incomplete. Second down. Looking for Glidden, I believe. 3rd down and 15 for Wichita. Can they get anything going in the third quarter? They cannot. Almost a catch. 10 of 21 for BK Solberg. That pass is dropped, knocked out of the hands of Rashad Lockley. Duty now 16 of 26. 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. In Dallas, the Talons, if they lose, would fall to 3rd place in the East, but they're getting a lot of help right now because Chicago and Wichita, who were just behind them at 6 and 5, Chicago lost big earlier today as St. Louis's defense gets 3 defensive touchdowns, and Wichita is getting crushed 27-0 right now as Ethan Flowers went up for a jump ball on 3rd and 12 and just could not haul it in. And now Vegas has to punt, and the snowball is rolling down the hill here for Vegas. They are desperate for a stop here on this next possession with Austin. 4:38 to go for Dallas. 27-14. Phoenix on top. Cameron Duty's pass is complete to the 31-yard line of Phoenix. Drive continues. A lot of room to return for Austin on the punt. They'll start with decent field position at their own 29. Holdorf to throw to the 35-yard line. San Diego going to be short of the first down by a yard. Duty is taken down in the strip of sun. Coming in through the stadium, Lynch now has 2.5 sacks, and that lost 7 yards and some momentum on this drive for Dallas with 4 minutes to go. Payne Price is bottled up. He's got 86 yards on 18 carries. Duty, 2nd down and 17. Floats one over the middle. That is complete for the first down to the 18-yard line. 3:48 and counting, but Dallas is not giving it up. 303 total yards for the Talons. 2nd down and 10. Vegas looking for their first defensive stop of the day. They won't get it there. More poor tackling from Vegas, and Ronnie is now 10 of 10, averaging 20 yards an attempt. A deep kick for San Diego is short, and Wichita will end up with good field position at the 43 with 6.5 to go in the third quarter.
On the ball, come on. Check. Five.
Cameron Duty is going to be short of the end zone. A face mask on Phoenix will stop the clock. That'll save Dallas about 20 seconds. And off Mike Woodstone made 3 people miss. Vegas's tackling has been suspect here in the first half against the Austin Lone Stars. Wichita takes the dump off. First down and goal at the 2 for Dallas. They're going to hand it off to Wells. Wells into the end zone for the touchdown. So the number 2 is off the board for the bingo players, and Dallas is back in this thing. 27-20, extra point pending. Deep shot, BK Solberg, incomplete. His receivers just not helping him out today. Extra point coming up for Dallas. It is good. 27-21, 3:06 to go. 3rd down and 13 for Austin, and Vegas can't get off the field. Ronnie's 11 of 11 for 225, and Nico Rightway's got the catch for 66 yards on 4 grabs. And an errant throw by Solberg. My goodness. Such a tough day for Wichita. Punt is away from the Flyers, and down to the 18-yard line is where San Diego will start it off. All right, refocusing here as we're just doing some administrative duties behind the scenes. Joe Tillo has the football up 27-21. Dallas needs a stop. Vegas has not gotten a stop. Ronnie is 13 of 13. First down to the 24-yard line of the Devils. Tillo and the offense right now, for what it's worth, they are in the sun. The face is in the sun for Tillo. And a timeout by Dallas. Ronnie is 14 of 14, folks. This is unbelievable. 2-minute warning in Austin. It's 3rd down and 7. Dallas is taking the timeouts in the hopes of getting the football back. They can win the game with the touchdown here. 3rd and 7. Can Dallas get the stop? Tillo dropping a throw, tries to set up the screen, does so, but the tackle is made. Ronnie on a 2nd down and 4 is going to take off and scramble, has the first down inside the 10 and walks it into the end zone. Touchdown, Austin, 4 for 4 on offensive possessions in the first half. That is Ronnie's first rushing touchdown of the season on just her 16th carry. And I would say that Austin's new look offense was a success. 9 plays, 73-yard drive, 3 minutes and 49 seconds to go, 311 total yards of offense, and a 35-7 lead. Now Dallas, with 2:12 to play in the 4th quarter, has an opportunity to complete their comeback against the Phoenix Skyhawks. That ball is out of bounds. 2nd and 5 at the 9-yard line for San Diego. This is Payne Price around the right side. He will get to the 6. I don't think he got the first down, though, as San Diego is still pitching a shutout in Wichita. Cameron Duty, just before the 2-minute warning, is sacked at the 21-yard line. That's Lynch again, his 3rd and a half of the game. 3rd down and 1 at the 6 for San Diego. Holdorf to throw, going to take off and run. He is taken down. And Wichita will get the stop. 3rd and 17 for Dallas. That pass is caught by Lockley. It's going to be 4th down over there. Ronnie's rush was 18 yards, already off the board. Chima over the middle, and 2 receivers ran into each other. Ouch. Nitro and Flowers were in the area, and they were both open. 25-yard field goal coming up for San Diego would make it 30-0. That kick is good. No new numbers off the board. And Chima's pass is airmailed. Vegas is all out of sorts. It kind of feels like the whole team's just trying to be a hero right now. And, oh my goodness, what a run from Savage. For Dallas, 1:08 to go in the 4th quarter. At the Phoenix 41-yard line, Savage just put him in great position. Under a minute to go for the Talons. Duty back to throw, dumps it off of the flat, picked off by Adam Watts. And he's going to take it the distance. Another pick six today. Phoenix may have just pulled the upset on the Dallas Talons on the road. Wow, a bad ball from Duty. Threw that to the outside shoulder. Should have thrown it to the inside shoulder of Rashad Lockley. And how many times do you see Lockley's pocket picked? Wow, just totally misjudged the pass. And the Phoenix Skyhawks have gotten their biggest win of the season. No question about that. Now Phoenix is going to go for two. Tillo's pass. Oh, they said it's incomplete. Friday with a catch. I don't think Ronnie's missed yet. Austin's out for more blood. .55 seconds to go in the first half. At the 38-yard line, Ronnie, can she stay perfect? Yes, 16 of 16 for 271 yards with 40 seconds to go in the second quarter. There's a first down for Wichita. And we do, yes, good call, Michaela. We do have a 35 off the board for Austin's points. Ronnie, deep shot down the field. There's a flag on the play. Unnecessary roughness. I don't know about that. That is a on Josh Bridge. That's going to put Austin into field goal range. I don't like that penalty call at all. That is bonkers on the sideline. That is going to put Austin, well, there's 7 seconds to go, but potentially in field goal range here as Ronnie drops to throw. But Ronnie's going to run out of time, so that's the end of the first half. Alves gets the sack, and Vegas technically gets their first stop of the game. We also have 33 for Phoenix. Yes, good call, folks. Thank you, Ray and Ernest and Neil. So at the half, 35-7, Austin leading Vegas. No huddle offense here in Dallas, but they're not getting it down the field very quick. 16 seconds to go. Cameron Duty tried to wind up, and he's sacked by Sparks. And that might be the end of the game. The Phoenix Skyhawks go on the road, and they top the Dallas Talons, although Dallas did have one timeout remaining. So hold everything. End of the third quarter in Wichita, 30-0. San Diego on top of the Flyers. Well, the last couple of games here in the Gauntlet are snoozers. So we're going to try to keep you entertained the best we can in the last 40 minutes or so of the Gauntlet. Don't fall asleep in your chair or anything. That is the end of the first half in Austin. And Solberg has Wichita in the red zone. Well, maybe Wichita can get the goose egg off the board. How about Adam Watts? 2 picks and a touchdown today. He's the player of the game over there in Phoenix. But, I want to give it to Joe Tillo as well. He played an outstanding game. We'll check his final passing numbers. Wichita's down to the 4. Second and goal. I mean, the whole thing with Vegas and Austin, was kind of a very fast snowball. Wichita hasn't even, they don't have any momentum right now. That's a sack for Nigel McDade in the backfield. So that'll bring up third down and goal for Wichita. I mean, Wichita's had no momentum all day long. At least Vegas on the opening drive. That's a good fullback run right there. On the opening drive, they scored a touchdown. But then that fluky pick six really just sent that game into a tailspin. Chima starts out of the empty. That pass is caught by Ethan Flowers. 12 of 21 for Chima, 91 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Yep, Phoenix, welcome in, Damon. Phoenix pulls off the big-time win over Dallas, sends Dallas to 8-4, third place in the East. Nitro with a nice carry there, 33 yards on 11 carries. This shot in the end zone for Wichita is intercepted. Are you kidding me? That ball is picked off by Brian Schutz. That's the third different Wildcat with an interception today. And the shutout continues. Chad needs 3 numbers. And off to Nitro. Ray, how many numbers do you need? Kyron Rucker, 6 catches for 115 yards so far today for San Diego. Vegas is across the 50 in Austin to the Lone Star 38-yard line. And they'll give it off to the fullback. I think he got the first down. Lofton's second carry, but he may have needed some more of that earlier today. Theodore Blackman with just his 5th tackle, one of the league leaders in tackles. Rob Ems needs 2. Ray needs 2. Hand off to Payne Price. Gets up to the 28-yard line. Peter needs 4. Ray needs 3. Mac Chima dropping a throw. Nearly threw an interception. Oh, that's not what Vegas needed. That was almost picked off by Wichita. They definitely needed that momentum with 8:52 to go in the fourth quarter. Michaela needs 1 number for the F. Jack Nitro up to the 30-yard line on the carry. That'll set up a 3rd down and 3 for Vegas. Don just needs an 8. San Diego's got to punt it away. 3rd down and 3 at the 30. For Vegas, 8 minutes to go in the third. Chima almost threw an interception, and that'll take a 47 off the board, folks. What just happened in Wichita? Did it touch? It touched it touched Chris Delro. That is unbelievable. That's the 5th turn. Chris Delro was walking away from the football as if to say the ball was dead. It bounced back and it rolled and it literally touched him in the leg. And then San Diego recovered the fumble. The field goal from 47 is good from Vegas. That has to be one of the flukiest turnovers in football history. So again, if you missed it live, San Diego punts the football away. Wichita gets the stop, right? It's 30-0. They get the stop. Wichita has 129 yards of offense in this game. The punt goes inside the 10. Delro says, I'm going to let this go. Hopefully it rolls into the end zone. The ball bounces back, and it didn't hit him right away, and it almost hit a San Diego player. In fact, it looked like it did, but I guess it didn't. The ball rolls and hits Delro in the back of the foot. San Diego recovers the fumble and gets the ball in the red zone. That is one of the most unfortunate plays I've ever seen, and that's a 4-yard San Diego touchdown. It's 36-0. Unbelievable. Vegas got a field goal on that last drive from 37 yards out. Not too terrible of a drive, but the problem necessarily has not been horrific offense. Their defense just has not been able to contain these Austin Lone Stars. Let's go back to Austin, where Ronnie is 17 of 18 now for 296 yards. Mike Churchill, a 25-yard catch. Check that, Beaverhausen with the reception. $7:35 to go in the fourth quarter. San Diego, 37-zip. I am just, if you're a Wichita Flyer today, you're just mortified. I mean, how do you, with back-to-back tough weeks, yeah, you got to make some changes, but Wichita probably getting some PTSD from last season's collapse a little bit. There's still 4 games left, and Wichita did get some help because Chicago did lose today. PSFL is here. Hope you're having a good one. 7:35 to go in the fourth. In Wichita. 6:40 to go in the third in Austin. Woodstone takes the carry. I'm not seeing any bingos posted, so if we get into the final game, I'll start to spit out some bonus numbers. If we're still not there with a bingo already. No huddle for Wichita. This is Solberg dropping to throw. That is caught at the San Diego 44-yard line. 7 minutes to go in the fourth. Austin's up 35-10. And they try to set up the screen, and Vegas gets a half stop. So the Devils defense bows up at the end of the first half, holds them to nothing. And now will force a very long field goal from Austin. A 52-yarder for the Lone Stars. That would make it 38-10, and that kick is up and good. No new numbers off the board. San Diego with a pick. Are you kidding me? Schutz's second interception. That is the 6th Wichita turnover of the day. Unbelievable. $5:59 to go in the third. Austin answers Vegas's field goal with one of their own, so it's still a stalemate in the third quarter. There's Holdorf's updated numbers, 13 of 21 for 178 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Hand off to Payne Price across the right-hand side. More damage being done by San Diego. Price is over his average, 143 yards on 27 carries. Under 6 to play in the third quarter. I'll hand it off to Nitro. I'll pick up 3. There goes Payne again, up to 150. Peter wants to get him up to 200. And with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, that is a distinct possibility. 5:25 to go in the third quarter. And Vegas just got to delay a game, and Payne Price is up to 160. Yep, Payne says, look out 2,000. Definitely on pace. We mentioned San Diego's very challenging schedule. Second down and 12 for Vegas, trailing 38-10. Down to 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter in Wichita, 37-0. Handoff, that's not Price, but that is a 30-yard score. And that Corbin McNeil took a 30-yard touchdown away from Payne Price. That is brutal. 43-0.
Watch one. 3-3.
And we had all of the drama and all the excitement early on in the gauntlet today. We certainly had plenty of it. Ethan Flowers with that last catch. The extra point is good. No new numbers off the board. 44-0. San Diego with 4:56 left. Wow. For McNeil, he's got 4 touchdowns on the season. Zach Holdorf's got 7, and Payne Price has 9 on the ground. A high snap to Nitro. 59 yards on 17 carries. Pretty decent day for Nitro on the ground for Vegas as they move the ball near midfield. Yeah, the numbers are really brutal. We're stuck on 38 called numbers. Nitro's still working. He almost broke that for a score. 70 yards on 18 carries. Vegas is not playing too bad of a game. But obviously, I mean, the score would tell you otherwise. Meanwhile, Wichita, Solberg, 20 of 38 for 4 picks. 433 to 160 in total yards. 267 to 15 in rushing yards. They try to set up a screen for Delro, and that doesn't work. Handoff. That is right. First down to the 30-yard line for Vegas. Picking up 12. Waller on the stop. And BK will have the completion of Timothy Shea after the 37-yard line. 4:45 to go in the fourth quarter over there. .225 to go in the third. Vegas is on the move, and they got flagged again. Sent that guy in motion. That's twice now on this drive. So 1st and 15 now for Vegas at the 35-yard line. 4:18 to go in the fourth in Wichita, running no huddle. Down 44-0, trying to avoid a shutout. And Gilmer gets it up to the 38-yard line for San Diego. This is Nitro on the carry. 73 yards, 19 carries, 2nd and 12 coming for Vegas. Waller's third tackle. Solberg's, oh, he tried to squeeze that one through. Jamichael Morris, that's incomplete, 2nd down. Well, now Nitro's getting bottled up a little bit more here at the tail end of this drive. Max Superset with a TFL. Solberg now a 2nd down and 10, and that one's complete. Timothy Shea trying to get the ball ripped away from him. That would have been turnover number 7, but Shea holds on down to the 10-yard line. Wichita's shutout may not be secure, or San Diego's rather. 3rd down and 16 for Vegas, and that pass is incomplete. Now it's 4th down. This would be a 52-yard field goal for Vegas. Bingo players are saying just couldn't get closer for a field goal here. We'll end around to Morris. Morris is dropped for a loss. No, Vegas is actually going to punt. They're not even going to attempt the 52-yard field goal. And Austin will take over with 1:04 to go in the third. I'm a little surprised that Vegas chose to do that. 10 carries, 70 yards for Mike Woodstone, but most of that was on his 55-yard touchdown run. Otherwise, just 15 yards on 9 carries allowed. And that was just poor tackling. Hand off to Woodstone. And it got just a yard. More good run defense there from Vegas. Well, Wichita says we're not going for the touchdown. We want points. We don't want to be shut out. It's a 27-yard kick, and there's no new numbers, folks. But Wichita does get off the board with 2:58 to go in the fourth quarter. Shy Ronnie on a little read option. That lost 3.
That's it, baby.
So as Wichita and San Diego continue on, we want to remind you that next Sunday on the Game Day Gauntlet, San Diego heads to Los Angeles. That is a monster game in the West. New York takes on Dakota. That is spicy. I mean, really spicy. In fact, that's probably going to get flexed. Chicago, Miami is scheduled for prime time, but I'm telling you right now, that New York-Dakota game is getting flexed into prime time. So we'll have San Diego, Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami on the Game Day Gauntlet, Rochester, Minnesota, New Orleans, Vegas, and then Dallas, Wichita. Always a fun matchup, Wichita and Dallas both really going to be looking for a bounce back in that one. Then in prime time next week on Coast to Coast Sunday, it'll be New York at Dakota, followed by Salt Lake at St. Louis, and then your Monday night primetime game next week is Austin at Phoenix, which should be a really good ball game, as both teams have played very well today. Nico Rightway with that last catch for Austin. Wichita with the fluky onside kick recovery, which I still haven't figured out how that started. Yep, New York and Dakota, possibly a championship game preview for sure. And we certainly don't want to bury that in the gauntlet. Chicago-Miami, though, is still a very interesting and compelling game for the gauntlet lovers. Chicago 6-6. We'll see what Miami does tomorrow against Rochester. Let the playoff positioning begin. Mike Woodstone finally finds some room. First down, Austin. BK Solberg down to the 5 and a face mask penalty. Wichita might score again here. Ricky Tidwell called for the infraction that puts the ball at the 2-yard line.
54, right there. 54, Mike.
2:28 to go. Hand off to Woodstone again in Austin with 10:08 left in the fourth quarter. 91 yards now on 14 carries. Play fake. Solberg, he's going to be sacked. Another face mask will stop the game. That game just doesn't want to die in Kansas. Putting the Flyers through every excruciating minute. For Wichita at 6-6, the Flyers are going to have Dallas, Austin, Minnesota, St. Louis to end the season. That is a tall task. Austin, Dallas, very explosive offenses. St. Louis, a tenacious defense. Chris Delro's got a touchdown. So Wichita saving face a little bit. It was a 5-yard score for Chris Delro. No new numbers. Michaela says, "No, we got this. We've been keeping our eye on Dakota." Billy Flagg, always a fun watch. 8:38 to go in the fourth. Austin's going to punt it away. That extra point is good for Wichita. And with 2:22 to go in the fourth, it's now 44-10, getting a little better. And Vegas got another stop, so with 8:29 to go in the fourth quarter, Vegas has basically played Austin straight up in the second half.
Mike is 59. Mike to 59. Get in the weight room. Get in the weight room.
This is Chima dropping a throw. He fires it over to Flowers. That pass is caught at the 32-yard line. 14 of 26 for Chima with 8:15 remaining in the fourth quarter. Is Wichita gonna? No, now Wichita's gonna. Yeah, they are gonna glitch out on us again. That is absurd. I mean, hey, at least it's keeping the game entertaining. Wichita's going to get the ball back, but all the Payne Price record watchers are going, hey, this is BS. This is totally not fair. If you're wondering at home, what's glitching right now is Wichita is essentially down by so many points. They should not be onside kicking, but they are onside kicking. But they're not onside kicking. They line up in the kick it deep formation, and then the game is onside kick. I don't know why that's happening, because we have it set up essentially for those onside kicks to not occur that late, so that these games don't drag on. Well, you know, here we are, and Wichita's got the football back. Jamichael Morris now 12 catches for 72 yards, that's racking up his totals. I think he's just one off a record for Mike O'Neill just dropped that pass. He's one off a record for receptions in a game with 1:40 to go in the fourth quarter. Ronnie needs a 1 and an 8. That should be manageable, but of course we haven't had much scoring in the Austin-Vegas game in the second half. And Wichita just scored again. Touchdown for the Flyers. That was from 25 yards away, and that's not a new number. Man, the Flyers in the fourth quarter have been pretty awesome. What? I just don't know what happened in the first three quarters for the Flyers. Timothy Shea with the receiving touchdown. And it makes it 44-16 now, Wichita. I agree, Jesse. The AI has invaded the machine. Down to 6:50 to go in the fourth quarter. And that fourth quarter flying by in Austin. San Diego and Wichita, I mean, are we going to get the glitch again? Is Wichita going to get the ball back? Are they going to come back in this game? Is that what's happening? We got to fix that as a league. Well, Wichita making things look a little bit better than they were, and it's still a 27-point defeat. On Coast to Coast tonight, New York takes on Minnesota, followed by Los Angeles and Salt Lake. Diagonals win tonight, and then then Miami at Rochester Monday night in primetime. Colin Northrup and John Warren have the call on Monday, and then tonight it is Brett Solberg and Eric Vinson on the call for Game 1, and Tyler Falk and Josh Circle on the call for Game 2. So Austin had to punt again. This is a bizarre, turn of events here, because Austin did San Diego recover that onside kick? No, now Wichita kicked it deep. What is happening? Why would Wichita now kick it deep? I wonder if it's because Wichita was down by so much. Maybe we didn't have maybe there's no source code for that. Or maybe I screwed something up. I don't know. But 44-17 now, San Diego with the football, and we should be out of Kansas here pretty shortly. No huddle offense here for Vegas with 5:26 to go in the fourth quarter. 38-10. Payne Price getting more yards, finally with the football. 174 yards now for Payne Price on one of the final plays of the game. And Austin just got another sack on Vegas. So 3rd down and 17, 5:05 to go in the fourth quarter. Can Chima keep the offense on the field? That is a crushing hit on Glidden. 16-31, and Vegas down 28. I wonder if they just punt the football away. So that's a wrap in Wichita. 44-17, kind of a bizarre fourth quarter sequence of onside kicks, but that didn't matter. The point of the game is Carver Clark gets a sack and a pick and a touchdown in the victory. The point was that San Diego played a fantastic game, and when you look at the San Diego Wildcats and what they've done just in the last, let's say, month let's say 5 weeks. They beat New Orleans 38-17. They beat Vegas 44-6. They lost a shootout to Dallas 38-28. They beat Minnesota 41-17, and they beat Wichita 44-17. That's 38 points or more in 4 of the last 5 games. In the one game they lost, they still scored 28. So a phenomenal last 5 weeks for the Wildcats, who now moved to 6-6. They are going to be a tough out, and that game against Los Angeles next week is going to be a lot of fun as we wrap things up there. So now we'll go to the single block here. There are your updated bingo numbers. We'll try to put some bingo numbers, some bonus numbers out to see if we can get our first bingo of the day in the last 5 minutes or so of this ball game.
Here we go. 10-2 stop. Watch 54. Watch 54. All day, baby. All day. 5.
54, right there. 54, Mike. I got you, son. I got you.
Set. 10 Lobo.
Stop talking loud, what?
Shoot.
Mike Woodstone, great run there. He's up to 140 yards on 22 carries. $10 super chat from Jesse Fritz. Thank you, Jesse. Colin Northrup called both my first SFLM and SFL game. Great commentator. You can feel his passion and love for life and the game of football. I could not agree more, Jesse. Looking forward to having him back into the booth on Monday. Well, what's next for Vegas? This was a weird game. You got Austin and Vegas scoring 3 points each in the second half after Austin dumped 4 touchdowns and 4 possessions on Vegas right off the bat. And then things settled down, and Vegas didn't necessarily look terrible offensively. Their only mistake was that crazy, fluky pick six play. They, third down and long, they struggled. They were thrown into traffic some. That looked to be a bit of an issue. But, I mean, what do you do as as a defense? You give up 28 points in the first half, and then you give up 3 in the second half. Like. It's a very Jekyll and Hyde performance by the Devils. They basically played Austin even in the second half, and I don't know. All right, bonus number time. Let's see. We're gonna go. I'm trying to give some sort of meaning to these bonus numbers here. As Shy Ronnie drops back to pass. That is complete. Down to the 5-yard line. Ronnie 19 of 22 for 331 yards. So we're going to go 19 as a bonus number for the number of completions that Shy Ronnie has had today. So that'll be your first bonus number of the day. If you're still hanging with us through this route, which 36 of you are, which I really appreciate that on a Father's Day holiday. We love hearing that. 50 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, so I'm going to have to figure out something quick here. We're going to go 19, and we're going to go 49. How about 49 as a bonus number? Second and goal. Is Austin actually going to score this thing?
Ready, go.
Down to 7 seconds to go. They hand it off to Mike Woodstone. He is dragged down at the 1. So 1 will be the final bonus number. 1:19:49, your 3 bonus numbers at the end of the gauntlet. And hopefully that did something for you. Bingo for Twiggy. Every week. How does she do it? That is unbelievable. on the final bonus numbers for Twiggy. Cue the outro. That is unbelievable. Look at that. That is a wild box score, folks. Vegas scored a touchdown on their opening drive. They didn't get anywhere near the end zone since, and Austin comfortably wins 38-10. Austin goes for 488 total yards today. Vegas just 197. Wow. As Austin trots off the field, they got to be feeling pretty good. So does San Diego. And the top of the West is getting a little bit more interesting. Austin, San Diego, and Phoenix all with victories. That's 3 of the top 5 teams, putting a lot of pressure on Salt Lake and Los Angeles tonight. The winner will stay in that hunt, and the loser will fall a bit behind schedule in the West. We've got more great UFL action coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on the Virtual Football Network. New York and Minnesota. Can the Chippers do what the Phoenix Skyhawks did earlier today and upset a top team in the league? Or will it be New York continuing to run roughshod over the UFL, then Los Angeles at Salt Lake? A dynamic and exciting game full of deep downfield passing attacks. It should be a good one, folks. That's all from us here at VFN Studios. Thanks, everybody, for being here for the Game Day Gauntlet. Your final scores: St. Louis tops Chicago 38-10. Dakota, I don't know how they do it, but they did it. 23-18 over New Orleans. Phoenix defeats Dallas 33-21. San Diego clobbers Wichita 44-17. And it's the Austin Lone Stars over the Vegas Devils 38-10. We hope you all had a great and fun day. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. And we'll see you back here for UFL Coast to Coast. Have a great night, everybody.